So this is a follow-up on the Matt Legg episode, and what a great guy Matt is. And like I said, just like these other guys we've had on, I've had a chance to go to FDIC with him and have a chance to really talk with him a little bit more in depth. And it actually even makes those episodes a little bit harder to do when you know a lot about somebody and then you go in to talk to them and you feel like you're asking them things that you already know, but it's for you guys to hear mainly. But one of the things that I really enjoy about Matt and having him on the show was the conversations that we had about some of the calls that he was on, especially the very first one that he was on. And it hit home for myself, and I know it could probably hit home for a lot of you in the fire industry or elsewhere, but it's not letting the moment and the incident that you're in take over where your thought process kind of goes out the window. And we've all been in those situations before where the pressure's on and the thought process goes out the window. When he was talking about one of the first calls he was on and the pressure of the moment, and then he forgot the little detail, which is like, okay, now I'm driving. Now where am I going? Am I going to, where's the hospital even at? So there's something to be said and something for all of us to take away from that, which is not letting the pressure of the moment come and overtake us and actually remembering and letting yourself kind of get cool, calm, and collective and say, okay, where am I? What's my assignment? What am I supposed to do? Because too many times, a lot of us get in a moment. I do this with my kids out at soccer all the time is when I'm coaching, which is a kid gets the ball and he kind of panics. And then what's the first thing you do? He just boots the ball really far. It's like, hey, just calm it down. Slow the game down a little bit in your head. It's not as fast as you think. You don't have to get the ball and then just get rid of it as fast as you can. A lot of times you have more time than you actually think. You get the ball. It's just like when there's a second or two left on a game clock in a basketball game. You see the inbound happen, and some of the younger kids, they'll get it and they'll just do a Hail Mary. But really, in 2 seconds, you have enough time to get the ball, collect yourself, dribble once, take a deep breath, and then shoot. It doesn't go nearly as fast as you think it does. So for myself, I took a lot from that, which was in certain moments, there's a maturity that happens. You get along in a fire service, you get more mature with the situation that you're in, and you start to realize, okay, I really can calm myself down a lot here. So there's something to be said for that. And Matt definitely has that feature about himself. But another thing I took was that he's willing to listen to the people around him. The one call he was on where he had an incident where it was a couch in a car and he kind of got pinned between the two and he was kind of thinking to himself, how do I get this up? And another guy was like, look, just grab the cushion out. Something he had never thought about. But that goes back to what him and I talked about, just being around people or working with people who just have that dog about them, who just have that little bit of edge about them, who just have that street smart, who just understand and know a situation, because that's so empowering. Like I said, on the construction site, when you're at the fire station, when you're on the football field, when you're around a group of people who collectively are very high level at what they do. The best way to describe that would be, you play high school football. And it really is everybody kind of plays high school football who's got some athleticism at the school. But then you get to college, and it's a group of all of those individuals who were extremely good at their position that are now at college. And so now you're around these people who have this high IQ of football and who have that knowledge base. And then as you get into the pros, it goes even more to that high IQ. So you think about the fire service, and you really do have that high IQ of guys who have been selected to be with that station or with that department. And so being around that group, I can only imagine that it kind of has that same type of feel of just going into a situation and understanding that if you don't necessarily know, somebody else in your group probably does. So having that group of people around you is so empowering. Like I said, that goes to the construction site, that goes to the fire service, that goes to police service, first responders. Most any other job that you're in, you could probably have that same exact feeling to understand and know where he's coming from. And along that same thing is Matt also talked about whenever people come in from different parts of the country, they come in from Colorado, Texas, Florida, wherever they come from, they always bring a little bit of a different way of looking at something, which is also extremely true. You think about the different areas of the country you go to, or maybe they say things differently, they talk differently, they use different terminology or other things. A lot of times it means the same type of thing, but there's just different perspectives that you have. And I had some guys here from Puget Sound just last week as well. And I was talking with those guys, and they were saying they have people flying in from Hawaii and Texas and Florida and all these other places, and New York even, to come in to work for them. But being able to have all of those different retrospects and different personalities and different ways of looking at things that can come in. And if you're willing to let those mold you and you're willing to listen to that advice of the people around you, I'm sure it can just philanthropically, if you will, or can just really expand your knowledge base from taking advice from other people. But the key to that is making sure that you're able and willing to accept that advice, not thinking that you're a know-it-all, not thinking that you just know everything. The key to all of this is being the person who's willing to learn and is willing to listen. Being willing to listen is a key thing that everybody should be able to have. A lot of times we hear somebody talking, we hear somebody saying something, and we want to respond so quickly. Are we listening to respond, or are we listening to understand? I love that quote. I've used it a few times. But when you're listening to understand, you can truly take what that means, and you can do basically anything. You can apply it to any circumstance in life. And I've told this to an employee just the other day. It's like when you understand how things work, that's when you can innovate. And the same thing goes with us as personalities, as human beings, as wanting to be better, is that if we can understand how things work, it makes us better because we can help shape those things. And the only way to do that is by listening. Really appreciate Matt coming on. Man, you did a heck of a job. Really looking forward to our next guest that's coming on. She is very good and very intelligent at what she does. When she came on, we had a great conversation. So make sure and look forward to that coming up next Tuesday. But until next time, stay sharp and stay resilient.